Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Ysn Power Hour. It is a Wednesday edition, and it's a get back on track edition of the Power Hour. So, if you're a frequent watcher, viewer of what we do each and every week, you understand that we've had a little bit of a sabbatical, all because internet issues, right? We love our new home at athletics, but the internet has been a problem. But we are back, at least trying to get back on track a little bit from that standpoint. No matter where we pop up, right now we're in the YSN Man Cave, or at the Oakley Man Cave, so where it all started. So we're going to try to get things back on track from that perspective. See, it's fall because I got the cough back. Getting everything back on track and getting interviews back out to you on a daily basis and talk about what is kind of in the sports landscape of things, right? So there's been a lot, and I mean a lot of stuff that has been in that sports landscape in the last few months, really the last few weeks, especially, that we need to get to. Today, we have a very special interview. Chris Colucci is going to, he did an interview with Keegan Sell of Garfield. We're really excited about, and if you know the inside joke about Chris Colucci, he loves Keegan Sell. He loves all wrestlers that play football and translate, because that is who Fur Colucci is. But Keegan Sell is a special, very, very special young man in his own right. And I think that getting the word out and letting the world see Keegan Sell on a more personal basis, you're going to understand why this young man is so special. And we'll find out together here today in just a few minutes with Chris Colucci in his interview with the Garfield legend himself, Keegan Sell. Also, we had the interviews on Monday. We had 21 interviews. We're working on more prior to Friday's deadline when everybody's got to play. But we're going to replay the interview with Dan Reardon of Ursuline that Mike Ackelson did. They're all going to be available on ysnlive.com. I think a bunch of them are right now. I think like 8 or 9 of them right now. The rest of them will be up tonight, and being able to kind of take bite-sized pieces of that, and you can watch whoever you want along the way. And I think we're going to talk about the OHSAA and this ticketing stuff, because at the end of the day, guys and gals, I know a lot of people want to talk about it. I know they want to discuss it. There's been arguments on both sides of the fence, and I think that you kind of know where I stand. We're going to talk through it a little bit more logically and try to understand why tickets are $15 to get into a high school football game, why tickets are $10 to get into a high school volleyball game, no matter your age, your status, anything like that. We're going to talk about that and see if it makes sense. See if we can make some sense of it, and better understand it. And of course, we'll be taking your comments in the YSN and Toyota Warren comments section. So without further ado, let's get to Chris Colucci, who sat down with Keegan Sell.
Welcome into this player profile. Chris Colucci here. To the right of me, I guess. That way. Keegan Sell. Garrettsville Garfield running back. How you doing today, Keegan?
I'm doing good. How are you, Chris?
Good. So, I mean, you guys are 10-0 going into the playoffs. How you feeling?
I mean, feeling pretty good. I feel like one of our goals at the start of the year was just to get 1% better every week. And I feel like, most of the weeks we've definitely accomplished that. And, we're just looking to continue the same thing 1 week at a time, 1% better every day, and just continue to grind.
1% better every day. I love that saying. I mean, we're both wrestlers. Our wrestling coach always said that, like, get 1% better every day, and that 1% builds up to 200% one day when you're at a big tournament or whatever. So back on to football. We'll talk about wrestling later. I'm a wrestler, everyone. I'll be talking about wrestling. If you watch Power Hour, I'll be talking about wrestling later on because we got a pretty darn good one right here. All right, so you guys are the 5th seed going to the playoffs. You guys have a home game. How important is it to get a home game in the high school football playoffs?
I think it's really important, especially with how far some schools get. I think County, it's about an hour or so away. It just depends on how fast you go. But I mean, definitely because you can still get a good student section at home, and then we don't have to travel, so we can come into school a little bit later. It makes it very easy on the home team to be able to relax, go about their day normally, and it means a lot to have all those fans there. Because the farther you get, some people can't travel, some people don't have time, so it means a lot to have a home game for sure.
Yeah, it's crucial. Every playoff game, nothing's given now. It's playoff time. Now they've let up 16 teams, which I'm not really a big fan of. I liked it when it was 8, but with the 16 teams now, top 8 teams get a home playoff game, and so you guys get that home playoff game. That is so crucial, getting that home playoff game. People that don't know Keegan Sell, what can they expect? What can they get out of you?
I would hope other people can back me up on this. I'd like to say I'm a hard worker with whatever it is. Obviously football and wrestling, but with other stuff too. I like to take school seriously. Still mess around and goof off with friends when I can. But a lot of stuff, our defensive coordinator, he has a saying, do everything intense. So brush your teeth intense, and it translates to everything. So I forgot last interview I was on, I forgot it as well. The way you do anything is how you do everything. So I like that saying a lot, and I've tried to put it in my life as much as possible. So
brushing your teeth aggressive. Do you ever cut yourself?
No, not quite, but not quite that aggressive.
All right. So regular season, your senior year came and went. Talk to me about some important things that happened through your regular season.
We played our week 3. We played the first Division I team in school history. Came out with a big win. It was good team win, and just good for the program altogether. But I think just we've grown so close together. We were already a close team, but with this off season and the regular season coming through and how we've performed, and we've gotten better every week, and we've had some struggles. We've had some injuries, kids out for weeks. Or we've had to bring younger kids up to play. So I think really the most important thing is we've just grown super close together. And I don't think any of us want the ride to end anytime soon. So.
Yeah, it was with being on a good football team like you guys are, you go so close with those guys, and you have underclassmen I'm sure you're really good friends with, and last year you had seniors that you're really good freshmen. It's so hard to have them walk away. And season, you guys got 6 more weeks left, hopefully, getting down in Canton. That'd be awesome to play at. So you guys went 10-0, which is a huge accomplishment. Congrats on that. It is super hard to go undefeated. MVAC champs, how important is it to win your conference going into the playoffs?
I guess it's kind of just a momentum boost for us. Wasn't one of our biggest goals of the year. Definitely a goal for sure. I think it's a goal for everybody. But, that's not the one we've been looking at. Like I said, this senior class, we've won our conference 3 out of 4 years. So don't get me wrong, it's a great accomplishment. It means a lot to us, but we're kind of getting ready to go on to the next step and do some bigger things.
You talk about those bigger things. I can only imagine what some of those bigger things. What are those? You got to shout. You got to set your goals. What are they?
We've been breaking it down on Thanksgiving since February. That's our goal, is to have team dinner on Thanksgiving, have turkey, stuffing, all that stuff. I think that would mean a lot to us. We've been grinding for that all year. So Thanksgiving is what we're hoping for.
One of the moms from our school back when I was in high school always said how important it was to play on or practice during Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It's one thing you can get away from a family dinner to go practice football on Thanksgiving. So it was always huge for that. Now you're a senior, you'll be moving on next year. Who are some of the underclassmen that YSN, anyone can look forward to seeing at Garrettsville Garfield?
I definitely have to say Devin Bates. His older brother graduated last year. Carter Bates was a hell of a football player for us. He was a linebacker and running back. But, Devin Bates is a big kid. I think he loves football. He loves contact. I think he's going to take a bigger role next year, so I'd have to go with him. 2 guys I completely forgot about. I keep forgetting the underclassmen are Mike Hubner and Brandon Baguki. They both start. They're both lettered as freshmen, and now they're big-time roles on starting both ways as sophomores, which is it's hard to do when you're an underclassman. Those 2 will be phenomenal players for years to come now. I have to say Colton Miller as well. He's a big kid. He just loves the game of football. If there's one way to describe Colton Miller, is big football guy, huge football guy. He loves it, and I think he's going to work to, fill that role when we need him.
That's a great way to have someone describe you, a big football guy. That's awesome. So last year when we played you guys had like you had the center and then your running back and quarterback were to the like over the guards almost.
Yeah.
Who is the mastermind behind that offensive scheme? Because we were very confused watching film that week going into playing you guys, and we're like, how does this happen?
Well, I don't know who originally came up with it. I don't know if – we've been running it since 2017, I think. I think so, yeah. So a little bit now. So we've kind of perfected it a little bit. You can always get better at it. We've been working at it. I think it just had to be Coach Mosier, Coach Page, and Coach Ward. They really help us out. They move stuff around. They do little things that really doesn't change anything for us, but for the defense, it might create a whole new problem, a whole new setup. You know what I mean? Instead of it being an unbalanced front, we move it over to a balance, and then it just screws everything up. But yeah, we've seen a lot of teams start to use it around our area. Not as good as us, but they're getting there. So
hey, that's just amazing. And some of the stats you sent me them earlier. You have 140 tackles going into the playoffs, almost 100 solo tackles. That's crazy. Like, you take pride in getting these stats. Years before we heard that you had like close to 200 tackles. Did you hit? Were you?
I
were
had
close.
189 my sophomore year.
You were so super close to get 200. There was one play that you literally ran 40 yards just to save the tackle. It was one of the best linebacker plays I've ever seen, almost a Fred Warner type of play. Talk to me about your defensive play. You take so much pride in it, and I just love that fact.
Well, that play you're talking about, first of all, I can't believe you remember that. That's pretty cool. But just like, if you're not going to give 100%, there's not even a point in being on the field. The whole point of the game is to rely on everybody else to give 100% and do everything they can do, to be the best team possible. So, I put that as just doing, we talk about our 1/11th a lot. Just do your 1/11th. And if my 1/11th is making as many tackles as possible, then that's what it is. Because what people don't see is like behind 140 tackles is defensive linemen taking up blocks, this guy filling the alley, making him cut back towards me. There's a lot that goes into it instead of just stats. And I think we take pride in that as well. It's not just me with 140 tackles. It's the whole team with 140 stops.
Love hearing that. That just makes you such a great leader. And any coaches out there, we'll get into the next question, but any next level coaches anywhere, this is an all around player. You guys are going to get a stud if you want him on your team. What's after high school? What are you planning on doing?
I want to play college football.
You want to play college football? You have anywhere in mind? Any?
Yeah, I have a couple places I've been talking to. Recently took a visit. A couple weeks ago, took a visit to Ohio State. I took one to Grand Valley State. They had a really good game atmosphere versus Ferris State. That was a great game. But yeah, just seeing where things go from here on out. I had a hard time earlier in the year at the wrestling. I didn't know what to do, but no, I'm definitely going with football. You're
going to go the football route? Hey, that's cool. The weight cutting, it's not the best thing to do in the world. It's not great. I'm glad I don't have to do it anymore. Fortunately, you have one more season of doing it. So in college, there's that gap from 97 to heavyweight. So you're either in.
Oh, you got to pick one or the other. And if, no, you don't pick, coaches pick for you.
Yeah.
That's even it.
Yeah, it's a lot bad. It's not great. So we're on the topic of wrestling. Last year, you're the state champ. You 190 state champ, Division III. You dominated that match. I was watching it. I loved every second of it, and you were my favorite celebration ever. It was like you just won a match at a duel at home. You shook kid's hand, raised your hand, shook the other coach's hand, walked off the mat. You didn't. It was class. It was perfect. What was the feeling like winning a state championship in wrestling in the finals at the Schottenstein Center?
Well, it was obviously exciting. It was a good thing. Good thing for not only me, obviously, but our program too. I don't know. First of all, I was out of breath and I couldn't breathe. So that's probably a reason why I didn't do anything. But I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It might sound bad. Wrestling, I don't really get excited over wrestling stuff. So, it was it was good, but I was more excited for Hunter winning first. I think that pushed me a little bit to really go out there and just do my best. But yeah, I think the big thing was I couldn't breathe. So there's that.
Talk about Hunter. You two had such a close bond. We were able to practice with you guys the day before state last year, and you and Hunter are just super close. Talk to me about Hunter. I mean, Hunter, he's at Kent State, right?
Yeah,
He's doing good at Kent State. He's wrestling there. You don't have him this year, so what's it like without Hunter over the so many years of you guys wrestling together, drilling together, and now it's just you this year?
Well, I do miss him. I see him from now and then. I see him at family gatherings or whatnot. But no, I think he's doing well at Kent State. I don't think they know if they're redshirting him or not yet. He might start or might. I don't know what they're doing with that. Might have wrestle offs or whatever. But he's enjoying Kent State a lot. Not sure what it's going to be like come wrestling season because I've wrestled him. I mean, since kindergarten, we've been drill partners and stuff. So it's gonna be really different. But I mean, you got to figure it out one way or another.
So coming into this year, defending state champ, you're moving up a weight class. We talked about.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go 215. You're ranked number 1, which are very respectfully deserved. And with YSN, the newcomer of taking over the wrestling program, we're gonna have wrestling rankings. We're going to try and get them out every week, like football and volleyball rankings. And you may see yourself at the top of those rankings a few times over the year. It's going to be special seeing what wrestling can do and what we could do with it in YSN. And I can't wait for such a great year for you. Schottenstein Center, what's it like? No one really understands it when you walk out of that tunnel. You walk down, you see all the 4-time state champs. You see all the 3-time state champs. What's it like walking out of that tunnel?
Well, it is a big change in environment. I remember we didn't have it there my freshman year because of COVID, but my sophomore year, when we got there, I remember walking out for like warm-ups. I remember it's so big. It looks like there's almost like a fog in there, like the higher up you look. So I know that, especially younger kids, it's a big difference for them. Not most kids aren't used to wrestling in a place like that. No, but I think it's great that they have it there, and it's a great environment. Really, it makes it worth it, in my opinion.
One of our coaches always said, when you walk out of that tunnel, maybe you can back me up on this, but just look straight. Don't look up, because when you look up, you can almost tell who's going to win the match and who's going to lose the match. The kid that's locked in, not looking up, looking at the crowd, getting like, oh, crap, I am screwed. But then there's the other kid. Yeah, you just got to stay focused. Don't look up. I remember my junior year, first match ever at the Schottenstein Center. I was wrestling the state champ. I walk out and I'm looking like that. I mean, I am just in la la land over there. It is a whole different level wrestling at the Schottenstein level. All right. So back on to football. I had to talk about my wrestling. But so you guys are 10-0. Talked about this multiple times. What is something you already accomplished or something that you want to accomplish before the football season is over?
Well, something we'd like to accomplish more is one of our goals is always defend home field. So far this year, we've done it. We've been tested. We're going to be tested again this week, and we might be tested again after that week, depending on how a couple games go. So that's definitely something we'd like to close the year off with, saying, we're undefeated at home. Then Thanksgiving, obviously, like I talked about earlier. I think that's definitely been our number one goal since the start of the year. We've talked about it since February, January. Every game could be the last after that. So just, enjoy the weeks, enjoy the day practices, the lifts, whatever we got left, and just, make it all worth it. Go out there and give 100%.
All right, we got the hard interview questions out of the way. We're done with sports. Let's talk about other things. What's some of your favorite things to do? I guess we're talking about sports, but what's some of your things outside of sports that you like to do?
Well, this might kind of have to deal with sports, working out a lot. I started because of football and whatnot, but I genuinely enjoy working out a lot. I think all my friends do as well. We like to go to Snap Fitness up in town and lift, and it's definitely fun. We go fishing a lot, drive around with our trucks, mess around. Like to go creeks, walk around creeks, mess around. Just a lot of just like teenage boy dumb stuff we like to do. Not getting in trouble. We're all good, but yeah, hanging out with friends is definitely number one.
Oh yeah, I can't. Some of the stuff we did, I couldn't say over this because then I won't have a job. But having fun with your boys in high school is one of the best experiences ever. And you get to college, guys move away. You don't get to see them that often. It's different. I mean, we were just talking in our group chat today. I mean, they were talking about coming back, watching the state game all together. It's so different from high school to college. It's no one realizes it, and I'm sure you've been told this. I was told this. It goes by so fast. I'm sure you're thinking at some point this year, like I was a freshman at one point, standing on that sideline, on the field, in the classroom. I was a freshman, and now I'm a senior. I mean, you got what, like probably 3 quarters left? I mean, you guys through your first quarter yet?
Yeah, Friday is the last day of our first quarter.
I mean, this year, more than any year, it goes so fast. And I'm sure you've been told that 1,000 times, but it just goes by so fast. Embrace every second of it.
What's even worse is you don't realize it until it's here. Yeah. I mean, 4 years of my career, I've been getting told, senior year is going to be here. It's going to be quick. You don't even know what it's like. And like now that I'm here, I can't even like explain it to other people. It's a surreal feeling.
One day you're like, oh crap. And then you're graduating in a week. Yeah. You know what I mean? We
just had a class assembly about cap and gowns and stuff. So I mean,
it's crazy. All right. So all my interviews, I do a thing called rapid fire questions. I ask you questions and you got to tell them as fast as you can to me. All right?
Yeah, I'll give my best.
All right. What's your favorite type of music?
Country.
Country? Who's your favorite country artist?
George Strait.
George Strait. All right. You're with your boys going to a George Strait concert. Okay. You stop at a gas station. What drink and snack are you getting from that gas station?
Ooh, drink. Probably gonna go with half and half iced tea by Arnold Palmer, and then snack. Oh, it depends. Maybe pretzels or sour. I like Sour Patch Kids a lot.
Favorite Sour Patch. Those are really good. All right. What's your favorite type of animal?
Animal? Ooh, probably just dog.
All right. You get a genie lamp. You get 3 wishes. What are those 3 wishes?
3 wishes. Probably make everybody healthy in the world. That's probably one.
That's
probably a good one. Got to start off with some good stuff. Number 2 would probably be. Oh my gosh, this is a hard question. This isn't a rapid fire question.
All right. I'll change that. I'll make it different. If you had $1 million, okay, you could buy anything in the world, but you can't get change back for it. What are you buying?
What am I buying? Can I like split it up and spend it on different things, or am I just buying one big thing?
One thing. It could be cars. It could be.
I'm gonna buy the most expensive truck I can buy.
I love that answer. I'm
gonna get everything, huge tires on it, everything that I can possibly get.
Accessories out the wazoo.
Yeah, all of it.
That's awesome. Keegan, thank you so much. This has been awesome. Good luck to you in the playoffs. You guys are going to have a far run. It's going to be really exciting to see how you guys do. Wrestling, good luck. I'm sure this won't be the last time we talk to each other. Keegan, Sell, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it.
So there you have it. Keegan Sell taking some time out for our ace and crack videographer and reporter, Mr. Chris Colucci. And, you know, there's a lot of people that probably will sit there and go, okay, it's an interview. The big deal is nowadays, right? Nowadays, you have these young guys, right? That there's a lot of animosity. There's a lot of jealousy towards each other for playing multiple sports, playing one sport, going along that road. You got a gentleman in Chris Colucci who not only faced off in football against Keegan Sell and the Garfield G-Men, but also I believe, and wrestlers are kind of weird in the sense that they like overly love each other because there's that common bond of being in that sport, which is to me still the greatest sportsman-like sport there is known to man. And then you get it on, and then you shake the hand of your opponent. I am so just impressed by the letting your hair down in some of these interviews. Now, a lot of times with the interviews that I perform, there's a lot of people that are rigid, right? They're not sure what they're going to do. They don't know where to put their hands, all that stuff. And then after the first couple minutes, things calm down. Chris is so relaxed. He makes you feel like you're at home. He makes you feel like, you can say anything and get anything out there. And that's kind of where we want to be. Keegan did a great job. I know that he does a great job no matter what, and representing not only his family but his school and his community, and his programs that he's in. But he does such a good job of keeping everything mellow, right? He's not a guy that rides that wave the way that a lot of us do, and I think that's why he's been so successful. You heard in that interview, he had almost 200 tackles a couple years ago. I mean, 200 tackles during any season is amazing, but you think about what this G-Men program has been able to do. I mentioned Jim Flieger before this season started. Who are you guys to watch? Keegan Sell. Keegan Sell, how long has he been there? It feels like he's been there for 13 years, or at least since YSN's been around in 2017. And it was funny because he did reference 2017 when they were talking about when the offense was installed. That's how involved Keegan Sell has been, not only in this offense, but for years. And then you talk about offense, flip side of that, defense, and Sell's there too. And I think there's a honest and authentic respect that Fur Colucci has for Keegan Sell, to the point where Jim Flieger is going to get him an autographed jersey, which I love. But you sit there and you look at this. Oh, listen, someone cutting onions. Get out of here, Colucci. Go to school. Get your degree. But it's really cool to see the next generation of reporters and YSN come out, and the respect that these two have for each other. And we're starting to see that more and more. And, I am looking forward to part 2 of that interview in wrestling season, because I think it's a completely different dynamic. It does surprise me. It does surprise me that Keegan is going to go for football and not take a glance at the wrestling path. And Chris has told me time and time again off the record, it's people talk about wrestling like it's easy to do and to cut the weight and things of that nature. It's not. It's not at all. And I think after you kind of hang that singlet up the last time, you think about, okay, I'm going to miss this element of it, but all the rest of these, cutting weight and not feeding yourself, and the smells of wrestling alone from being in those gyms and stuff like that. It's a great sport. We're so looking forward to covering it, but it is demanding. It is incredibly demanding on so many different levels that I'm just learning about. So thanks to Keegan for that. I'm trying to hold down a cough right now, so if my voice sounds weird, that's why. Thanks to Keegan for taking time out for Chris. Thanks to Chris for reaching out and doing that interview. It was a great one. First of many, I'm sure. And Chris is actually going to be out there tonight at the MVR. Don't forget, you can stop out at the MVR tonight. Western Reserve will be out there. I think the entire football team is going to be out there. We'll have a couple volleyball interviews as well. The football team getting ready to play Lisbon. And you can go on YouTube right now. I don't think our story's up, but you can go to YouTube and look at the interview for the playoff preview with John Armini. I'm sure he and Chris will talk more about the expectations tonight and what is to gain. What's at stake. Obviously, the next round of the playoffs, but with Western Reserve, there's going to be a lot of lights on that game on Friday nights. I love it, right? I embrace that. I love it. I know Chris loves to be in a competitor, and Uncle Billy's going to be out there and taking care of stuff too. And I'll put those two competitors up against anybody. If Chris Berman walks into Western Reserve and wants to do a game, I'm still taking Chris Colucci and Billy Capabianca. I'm taking them 10 times out of 10 because I know those guys are going to be well-versed. They are authentic. They understand what these two teams mean to YSN, what these communities mean to YSN, and they're going to go and put on a show for us. So if you want the real show on Friday night, you're going to be watching YSN. You're going to be listening to Chris and Billy because, again, I think they do a phenomenal job for two guys who have never done this before, and you wouldn't know that. Two professionals, two guys that care about every student athlete on that field, care about the communities they represent, and naturally they care about the programs that are on that field as well. So, I know I'm biased. But listen, $9.99 for 24 games on Friday night, as opposed to $15 for one per person. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to be? So we're going to take a break and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that in just a moment when we come back from break. But we also are going to hear from Dan Reardon of the Ysn Irish in an interview we had from Monday as he talks to Mike Ackelson about the potential of this year's 10-0 Ysn Irish team as they look into the Division III playoffs. All that and more when we come back on the Ysn Power Hour, brought to you by Toyota of Warren.
We believe expectations are made to be exceeded. At the new Toyota of Warren, it's about more than just getting a great deal. It's about service you can count on and a friendship you can trust. Year after year, we've done what we do best. We've gone the extra mile so you could too. Because we know it's just not about buying a new car. It's the start of a new adventure. Toyota of Warren, driven by you.
As Comco celebrated 70 years in 2022, we have much to be thankful for. We are proud of the Comco culture as we serve our customers with Comco Care with our premier customer service, quality parts, and on-time delivery. The partnerships we have with our customers and our community are second to none. We thank you for your continued support. We are proud to be part of this community and will continue to offer great jobs for great people.
Change. This one word can make you break out in a cold sweat. But with change comes wisdom, experience, and understanding. At Myers Family Insurance, we can help make changes in Medicare, insurance, and retirement a positive experience for you and your family. We've gone through changes, like our new office and new faces to help our family of clients too.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com or find us on Facebook.
Your culinary adventure awaits at Legends Food and Drink. Experience a welcoming ambiance while you explore our appetizing menu featuring over 20 meals under $20 and over 30 lunches for $12 or less. Our private dining room seat between 10 and 20 at no additional cost. And don't forget our spacious 35-seat bar for your favorite sporting event. Book your special occasion in our elegant banquet room that seats up to 150 comfortably. Legends Food and Drink, a taste you'll remember. Market Street and Route 224 in Boardman.
Week for you guys. Top seed. The one thing that I've seen that has stood out about your football team all season, Coach, very disciplined, and they have just followed that to a T all year.
Yeah, I think our kids have done a good job. Excuse me. Hey, I have the playoff voice going. I've been losing my voice all year. Yeah, I think our kids have done a good job all season long, and I think you can attribute that to our senior leadership, to our captains. We talk to our captains all the time about being an extension of the coaching staff. And I think our captains have done a really good job starting with that. And then that carries over to the seniors and all those things. And, so just overall, I'm proud of our kids this year.
You got 16 seed at New Philly coming to your place this week. What do you know about them? What do they excel at? And what do you have to stop?
Well, they're an unfamiliar opponent to us. I don't know if Erson's ever played them, but certainly not in my tenure. And they're first of all, it's a football town. They love football down there, and they have great tradition. And the thing on film, they're a very big physical football team that has good quarterback play, and when you have those things going on, you have a chance to be successful.
What do you like about the way your team's playing heading into the postseason, Dan?
Well, first of all, we play a challenging schedule, and hey, I've said this a number of times to anybody who would listen this year. If you would have told me, week 5 that we were going to be undefeated, I don't know if I would have believed you. If you had told me week 7, week 8, week 9, and now all of a sudden 10 weeks and we still have that 0 at the end of our record. If you would have told me that back in August or July, I probably would have said, you know what, we probably would have taken a loss here or there. So if you go back to August, we had 5 brand new starters on the offensive line. We had one guy with a decent amount of experience and a second guy with a little bit of experience that they would come in situationally last year up front. But we graduated 5 true starters on the offensive line, and they were 5 good football players. So we needed those guys to grow up quickly, and we opened up with Steubenville, and they more than held their own. They gave us a chance to win. We're able to come away with a victory there against a very good football team who was experienced up front. I think that was the biggest thing. And ever since that opening game, they've worked hard. They've gotten better and better, and far from perfect. But they've given us a chance to win every week, and they've given our skill guys a chance to make some plays.
How about on the defensive side thing, Dan? I've seen where they iced the game last Friday against Mooney with a pick six that basically snuffed them out. But defensively, that effort has been there from every week.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most improved piece of our football team. I think our offense, really, with the exception of my first year back, our offense has been very steady. We've made explosive plays. We've had good quarterback play, and our skill guys have made some plays, and that's been, 4 years in a row now. So that was not a surprise. The defense has gotten better and better. And again, if you go back to the Steubenville game, we played a team that is a big physical football team that runs the ball very, very well, and our guys played a great game that night, and it just continued all year long. And if you look at, in at least a handful of our games, some of the scores that we've given up have been, younger kids coming in at the end of the game. So I think our starters, our varsity defense, they're playing with a lot of confidence. We've really minimized some very good offensive teams and forced them to beat us left-handed, so to speak. And meanwhile, our offense and our special teams have done a really good job.
I also think, and I saw this from week 1 after you beat Steubenville, this team seemed to have a chip on their shoulder as they had some unfinished business to take care of, and they attacked every week.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. First of all, our senior class, they were sophomores on our state runner-up team. Many of them played. We have a fairly veteran senior class, again, with the exception of the offensive line, but a lot of those guys got on the field, offense, defense, special teams, somewhere along the way. So many of them were a big part of getting a taste of that state championship game a couple years ago, but coming up just a little bit short. Last year, season ended in a disappointing manner against Canfield, who went on to win the state championship. And, so I think our guys are hungry and like you said, playing with the chip on their shoulder, just have a sense of unfinished business, I think.
Hey, we appreciate you taking the time. We're going to let you roll, get that voice rested up. A little lozenge,
Sounds good.
Some warm tea with lemon, and you'll be good to go. We'll see you this week, buddy.
Sounds great. Thanks for the coverage. We appreciate it as always.
So there you have that as well. So that was part of our coaches special on Monday. Dan being so kind to, I should say Coach Reardon being so kind to give us, 5-6 minutes of his time on a Monday night and take it away from family. But I gotta say, I have to say, because I wanted to say it the other night, the trophy case behind him, that might be one of the best backgrounds I've ever seen, from any standpoint, because you had the U, all the varsity letters. You had helmets. I saw Wisconsin, Youngstown State, Iowa State. I'm sure with the just great history of that great football mind, and overall just even better person. Dan Reardon's probably that trophy case is one that I would love to just sit there and listen to him talk about some of the stories of how he's acquired each individual item. You know what I mean? Because I've become less of a historian, right? And more of an interest of stories and how these guys tick and how they kind of understand and love the game that they give so much to. And make no mistake about it, these coaches at the high school level, I don't think anybody can fathom, unless you're a coach's wife or interviewing these guys on an every night basis. I don't think you understand how much they put into the system. And what I mean the system, I mean their programs, their communities, and these student athletes. Because a lot of these guys, these head coaches, these coaches in general, are positive role models in the lives of these student athletes that they are coaching, that they're bringing up, they're shaping and molding. And I think that's one of the biggest things is understanding now. And people talk about open enrollment all the time, and they talk about, college, they talk about the transfer portal, and we talk about AAU and travel ball and things of that nature. People there's to me, there's two kinds of people. There's people that are going to find what helps them grow and what is best for them in that level. And there's another type of person that is going to help, or I guess help themselves, to a coach that lets them off the hook, gives them the easy way out, lets them punch their own ticket from a standpoint of, hey, listen, if you're going to take, X amount of plays off, that's good, because we're just happy to have you here. And then there's coaches like Dan Reardon, and the list can go on and on. But for example, because he was just on, there's coaches like Dan Reardon that you look at, and that's great that you're here. We appreciate you being here, but there's a sacrifice that you need to make to sit at this table and have the expectations that we have. And the thing that I love about this area is everybody has those expectations. Whether you finish 0-10 or 10-0, you have the expectation that you're going to get better. You heard Fer Colucci and Keegan Sell talk about 1% better, and there's a lot of people that talk about that, but there's not a whole lot of accountability in life, right? You hold each other accountable. I know there's a lot of teams that had mottos like that, 1% better, every stitch. I saw that one. It's all in. Across the board, all these different teams, everybody's got a branding. Everybody's got a motto. I get it. I understand it. But it's these teams that are holding each other accountable to getting better every step of the way, right? Colucci talked about it. If you're 1% better every day, by the end of that season, you should be 200% better than when you started. That's how you win. It's how you change a culture. It's how you build a winning culture in your locker room, on the floor, on the turf, on the grass, wherever it may be. That's how you do it. And, that's how you build that awesome background behind you, is one step at a time, right? And I'm sure that when you look at what Dan Reardon has done, he's got an impressive resume. There's no doubt about it. But you look at what his teams have done. He'll never, knowing him, he will never take credit for what his teams have done, but just being able to kind of guide the path and kind of steer the boat, so to speak, right? And he's done a pretty doggone good job of that as well. And I think that great leaders don't necessarily always have to be in the mix of it, so to speak. Does that make sense? You don't always have to see a leader at the front. Sometimes a leader needs to be in the back and eat last. When his troops are hungry, you let them eat because they're going to be the first ones into battle, right? That's why a lot of these coaching staffs, they're the last ones in line at dinner and team feed. That's why the coach of a volleyball team lets everybody else off the bus first to make sure everybody's accounted for and nobody gets left behind. It's an impressive trait for a leader. I'm not sure you want to see the coach be the first one off the bus. I'm not sure you want to see that. And I'm not sure I ever have. But there's a reason for that. It's to make sure that every player, every head, every helmet, every individual is accounted for, healthy, moving, and headed towards a common goal. And that's what I love about sports. It's what I love about interviewing these coaches. And we've already received, again, kind of side note here, we've received some feedback from the show. We appreciate that feedback. We listen, this is going to sound kind of, I don't even know I'm not begging for attention. We tried really hard. There was a 48-hour period that we were able to put that show together. Either we did it or we didn't, in a 2-hour window. And it's not, we picked our favorites. It's not anything like that. We threw out 21 invites, and then we had to fill in, if anybody was not going to be on the show. And folks, 21 coaches said yes. 21 coaches immediately said, I'm in. I'm in. To the point where we had no more. We tried to get a second show on the next night. It didn't work out because of scheduling conflicts. So I don't want coaches to think that because they weren't interviewed in that one little night, right, in that 2-hour time period, that we don't value them, their programs, or their communities. It's simply just, it didn't work out. And we're trying to reach out and make sure that those communities, those programs, and those coaches don't feel like they were kind of didn't measure up, because we value. There's 33 YSN teams, and we only had 21 slots to fill, and we were not picking this guy over this guy over this guy. We were saying, these are the guys that we know. We're going to put the offer out. Obviously, we put the offer out to coaches who have been on consistently throughout the year first. Everybody said yes, folks. 21 coaches said absolutely. Love what you guys do. We're absolutely in, and we appreciate that. We appreciate that greatly, and it was a very humbling experience, not only for me as the guy who, you kind of watch all this happen, right, throughout the year, because I'm so caught up in these coaches' interviews throughout the week, doing that I can barely get on my own show at 3:00. But to have a guy like Mike Ackelson, who's been in the business for going on 35 years, something like that, for him to be humbled and to kind of, look at everything that we did and see these coaches respond yes, not one of them no, and appreciate the work that we as a team do throughout the year. Ladies and gentlemen, that's incredible. To have our general manager thumbs up, good job. You know what I mean? To not have to lift a finger as leaders and let guys like Anthony Hartwig come up through the ranks and showcase what he's able to do. To have a guy like Sam Torres, who has never done anything like this before, come in and showcase where he's from, his home, the 440. And then Chris Sigler. I mean, what can I say about Sigler? He has been rocking it across the board. If you watched the playoff preview show on the 21 last night, my guy was killing it. I mean, he's amazing. And then you look at what he did during the show on Monday. I shouldn't be surprised, because the guy puts in the work and he puts in the effort, and he absolutely knocks it out of the park. But my golly, is it awesome to see our team come together and basically become a one-horse race, right? We're looking to our right, we're looking to our left, and there's nobody around that's doing the things that we're doing or even attempting to try and catch up. And that's called competing against yourself. And sometimes that's hard. And some of these student athletes have to do it, and they can't. It's a challenge because you're used to looking to the other guy and running a little bit faster and having that motivation, or you're used to understanding that there's a freshman coming up that wants your spot. There's nobody around. We're running our own race, so to speak. And these guys continue to push their limits and raise it. This is a product of the student athletes and the coaches that we represent. They're doing the same thing that we're doing on the field, on the court, and we're trying to do it right here throughout, on these microphones. That's what we're trying to do. Our team is competing against everybody else, but we look at it and we're just competing against ourselves. That's how it is. And you ask any good coach, that's what they're going to tell you. We're just trying to be better as a team. We don't care about the nameless gray faces on the other side of that football, on the other side of that net, on the other side of that field, on the other side of that court. If we play our game, we are going to win 99% of the time. And that 1% of the time, you tip your cap. It's incredible. It really is. But more on that as we go, going into tomorrow. It is time for the Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark, presented by Joe Dickey Electric. Anything commercial, residential, industrial, anything electrical, head on over to DickeyElectric.com. All right, this was going to be much bigger than I thought it ended up being from a statement. That's what she said. But I will say this throughout, and I put a little bit of a fishing lure out there to try and see if people felt the same way that I did in regards to the $15 ticket charge for the football playoffs. From there, I found out that it's a $10 volleyball charge for the volleyball playoffs. From there, I found out that this is going to occur pretty much across the entire realm of the OHSAA. $15 to go watch playoff football. So a family of 6 is going to be out $90. $90 to go watch your son, your daughter, in that case, niece, nephew, grandson, granddaughter, play football. And it might be the old crotchety dude that's a 38-year-old sitting on that front porch and rocking in his rocking chair. Get off my lawn, Sonny. But listen, where does it stop? Don't tell me it's inflation. Don't tell me it's anything but just greed. Because last year it was $10. I saw statistics that, in early 2000s, it was $8. Like, I want someone to explain to the people, not me. We just represent the people. We're the people's champion. I want someone to explain why that jump, because I'm tired of hearing, well, we lost money in this year and this. You got that money back. That money's back. The OHSA is sitting on basically $20 million right now. And that's public information. That's nothing that they're trying to hide. They've had to tell it because they are a nonprofit. My question is, when is enough enough? It's $4 for a loaf of bread. It's $5 for milk. It's, you're talking inflation, and then these other people just kind of throw it in there and say, hey, I think we can make an extra $5 at the gate. Because what are their other options? Well, I'm going to explain something. Those people that sit there and go, well, we're going to do this because there's no other option. At some point, there's going to be another option. At some point, someone's going to step up with their brass, you know what, and they are going to say, I've had enough, and everybody else has too, and here's your other option. And I can speak and tell you that at every turn, at every single turn, this organization has been corrupt in the standpoint of not playing nice in the sandbox, not playing fair, playing favorites, telling people that they're not even trying to hide it anymore, folks. And I don't know if that's admirable or if that is absolutely astonishing and just disgusting. I don't know if I'd rather, and listen, I told Ron Podesta for years that he has no business talking about the Cleveland Guardians or the Cleveland Indians and their ticket prices because he didn't pay ticket prices to get in because he uses Media Pass. We're in that same boat. But here's the thing. My family loves going to football games on Friday nights. My kids love the band. My kids love to cheer for their team. My wife loves to watch them do that because we understand in 8 years, 9 years time, he's going to be probably on the football team. In 10 years' time, 15 years' time, she's going to be part of that community as well. And people are we're going to want to see people cheering for them. Here's what I'm trying to get to. The OHSAA is going to price out. They've already ruined things with the playoffs. Let's get that straight. They've ruined things with the football playoffs. It's not as special as it was to make the playoffs anymore. You're expected to make the playoffs. And I'm just going to venture a guess that in 15 years or less, more like 10 years or less, every single football team is going to make the playoffs because they can make a buck. But I'll also put this out there. They're going to ruin the experience for families to the point where the interest for these sporting events is going to go down. The attendance is going to go down, and they're going to sit there with empty hands, and they're going to say, I wonder why. And I can tell you why. It's because you're trying to fill your pockets now, and you're going to step over dollars to get to dimes. The future of these sports are kids that are in kindergarten, 3rd grade, 6th grade. And some of these parents are tired of being pushed to the limit in every turn they have and everywhere they look. And it's probably not going to go well or nearly as well as the OHSAA feels it's going to be. And I could be way overstepping my bounds, and I could be drawing this out way too far, and I could be in a situation where I'm blowing this way out of proportion. But what I can tell you is, just from the general consensus of people that I've seen and heard and read online, this is not a good move. And this is not a PR stunt for the OHSAA. This is not a marketing tool. This is just straight up greed. And I'm going to tell you, if you're a school administrator, at some point, you have to stand up to this and say, you don't get money based on the hard work of our kids and our communities. All they are is a glorified birthday party. They get to hand out a trophy at the end of the year. And trust me when I tell you, they don't care. They will flaunt it in your face and tell you that 818 different schools are represented as members of the OHSAA. And they don't care if you finish 1 or 818 as long as they're counting paper all the way to the bank right down the street. That's the spark. Hope you can get engaged in that. Hope you do your own digging in that. Thanks for tuning in. Again, thanks for your patience, as always, here on the Ysn Power Hour, brought to you by our friends over at Toyota of Warren. Linda, appreciate you as always. We will see you tomorrow on the Ysn Power Hour. Hopefully have a couple guests lined up. I got one that is in mind. And if not, we'll get some of our YSN guys to pop in and say hi as well. And we'll talk about all of the goings on. I know Anthony Hartwig has all your volleyball stuff. We got volleyball tonight on the network. Ty Bartell has you covered. The Lady Rebels in action tonight on YSN. And thank you to our sponsors that continue to support us and allow us to do what we do, what we think better than pretty much everybody out there. So thank you so much. God bless you. And we will see you tomorrow, 3 to 4, right here on the YSN Power Hour. YSN thanks you for